Hi there, it's Asia, and today I want to talk to you about different ways to improve your IELTS listening skills. And later in this video, you can win something that can help you too. Okay, let's get started. I grew up and learned English in a small country called Kyrgyzstan. Maybe you've never heard about it. But we all spoke Russian, and all my teachers spoke English with a Russian accent, and we could easily understand each other. But one day I realized that understanding native speakers is so much harder. But it is possible. The very first time I took my IELTS exam, my English wasn't fluent back then, but I still managed to get a 9 in IELTS listening. And today I want to share with you some things you can do to improve your listening skills. The very first thing to do is to get used to different accents. You know, when you start watching a movie or when you meet a person, at the beginning it may be difficult for you to understand them, but then with time it becomes easier. That's because we can adapt to accents, but it takes time. And then if you know different accents, understanding IELTS listening will be easier for you. I think you should concentrate on 2 main accents, British and American. It will help you to understand Canadian and Australian accents too, and to be honest, I've never heard any regional accent in IELTS listening, for example, Scottish or Irish, which are quite specific. So don't worry about those. The first step is just to become aware what version of English you're listening to. If you watch a movie, check if it's in America or in Britain. If you watch a blogger, check which country he or she is from. For me personally, it was really useful to learn how to pronounce different sounds in British and American English. It helped me a lot. Here is a simple example. To pass or to pass. It's the same word. To pass is British, to pass is American. Or there is British, there is American. Or water is British, water is American. Yes, my American accent is not very good. You know, it reminded me of a funny story. When I went to New York at a restaurant, I wanted to get some hot water. And the waitress couldn't understand me. I had to repeat several times, and then eventually she said, you want some hot water? Like, yes, that's it. You see, she couldn't understand simple words in English just because I pronounced them with an accent she wasn't used to. And you will be able to understand IELTS listening much more easily if you're used to different accents. You know, people speak English very differently depending on the situation, and you should get used to it. Even in IELTS listening, you will have a dialogue between students, which is more casual, a lecture, which is more formal, and you will have a face-to-face interview with an examiner in IELTS speaking. Of course, the examiner will be assessing your speaking skills, but you still need to understand them, right? If you watch some English learning videos in English, that's great. But you've probably noticed that English teachers speak in a certain way, they pronounce all words and all sounds very clearly. And that's not enough. You also need to watch content that is not adapted for English learners. And there are different layers of this content. The easiest to understand, in my view, is more formal English. Different official speeches, TED Talks, and any online lectures. Then you should also watch TV in English. For example, news. TV presenters speak perfectly, they articulate really well, but in news they speak very fast. And in other TV programs, they speak much more casually, so it's more difficult to understand them. And the top layer, which is the most difficult, is when normal people speak in casual situations. For example, YouTube bloggers. When I first arrived in the UK, I really struggled to speak on the phone. And if someone happened to call me when I was on the street, with all the noise around me, I would really struggle to understand them and ask to repeat every second phrase. And that's because they speak casually, but also I couldn't see them and I couldn't read their lips. So sometimes you need to listen to English without the video. Talking about listening skills in IELTS speaking. Ideally, your IELTS speaking shouldn't be the first time you talk to a native speaker. Don't take me wrong, you can still pass it if it's your first time, but you'll feel more confident if you practice in advance. Right now, you can win 60 minutes of English practice with a teacher from the UK, Canada, or another country. You choose. The sponsor of this giveaway is Cambly, an online platform where you can practice your English skills with a native speaker at any time of the day or night. You can select a teacher you like, or book lessons with different teachers and get used to a variety of accents. You can suggest your own topic for the lesson, or take their IELTS speaking lessons or even a mock speaking test. Lessons start from just 15 minutes a day, twice a week. In this giveaway, I choose one winner, but I have a special discount code that is available to everyone. It's Fast Track, and you save the most if you opt for 3-month or 12-month plans. And if you change your mind, you can still cancel at any moment and get a refund. All the information is in the video description box below. Now, how can you win those 63 minutes with a native speaker? There are 2 conditions. Number 1, leave me a comment describing your main difficulty in IELTS preparation. I know the whole exam is tough, but don't just say everything. Give me detail. Number 2, you need to fill in this short form. It's gonna be linked in the video description box below. And I will choose one winner among the people who complete both these things in 1 week. So please keep an eye on your emails for results. Let's continue. If you know English words, why is it more difficult to understand them in sentences? That's because of something called connected speech. Basically, if you join words together in a sentence, they affect each other, and some sounds disappear and others appear. And if you know about these features, you'll be able to understand people more easily. For example, in sentences we link words together, particularly if one word ends with a consonant and the next begins with a vowel. I'll show you in a second. We link them together so that it's impossible to say where one word ends and the next one begins. For instance, an orange umbrella. It sounds like one word, or this is it. Sometimes it's not convenient to pronounce 2 words together, and native speakers add a new sound. For example, y. She asked. It sounds like there is y between those 2 words. She asked, or he answered. Sometimes a W is added. Do it, or go away. Then it's easier to link words together. Sometimes R is added. And you may know that in American English, R at the end of words is pronounced her, car. But in British English, it's not. It's just her, car. But when you have another word starting with the vowel, you pronounce it. You say her apple with the R sound, or this car is mine. Car is mine. Again, you pronounce it. While some sounds appear, others disappear. If you have 2 similar sounds together, quite often the weaker sound at the end of the word disappears. Let me show you a few examples. Must be becomes must be. Next door, next door. Bad boy, bad boy. Handbag, handbag. You and me, you and me. Tell him, tell him. Shouldn't have, shouldn't have. Sometimes two sounds merge together to form a new sound. For example, you may know that in British English we pronounce Tuesday, T-Y, Tuesday. But in American English they say Tuesday. And a similar thing happens in other words too. T and Y are merged into T. For instance, don't you becomes don't you. Meet you becomes meet you. And D and Y are merged into J. Did you becomes did you. Would you becomes would you. Luckily, listening is a passive skill. It means you can improve it without actively working on it. It would never happen with speaking or writing. These are active skills and you have to actively work on them. But if you simply watch TV in English, your listening skills will improve. And if you surround yourself with English, with TV programs in English, with YouTube in English, your listening skills will improve. But I'm against watching TV or YouTube with subtitles on, because instead of listening, you start reading. So you need to find something that you can understand already, mostly. And then if you didn't get something, you can go back, switch on subtitles, rewatch this bit, and then switch them off again. And the key is to choose a TV program or series where you can understand most of it, but not everything. If you watch something that is too difficult, you can't understand anything, you're not improving your listening skills, you're just watching something you can't understand. So choose the program where you can understand about 70 or 80%. And I have a separate video where I recommended movies and TV programs for people with various levels of English skills. Of course, you can do some exercises to actively work on your listening skills and improve them even more quickly. I talked about my favorite 3 in this video. And don't forget that right now you can win 60-minute practice with a native speaker from Cambly. All the information is in the video description box below. Thank you for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!